G'day guys, and welcome to another video tutorial. In this tutorial I will show you how to create an ocean. So we're going to be using the old school render engines, so switch that now to Blender Render and we can begin. So delete the default cube and import a plane. Scale it up to 4 and then go over into modifiers and give it an ocean modifier. Where's that? Right over there. This will make it way too big, so go ahead and scale it back down to 0, or by a factor of 0.04, and that'll become good size again. Okay, so now we're going to start maneuvering the camera a little bit, and just, have the ocean kind of fill the camera at a low angle. So something like that. And then, yeah, pull this one back so that it fills up the entire corners. Yeah. Okay, so it's looking pretty good. If we hit Alt A, nothing happens. This is because it's not actually moving through time. You have to move it through time to have it change. So here at 0, give it, or right click on the time here and hit insert keyframe. Now move this slidey bar over to 250 frames, or however long you want the animation to be, and this is in seconds, this one's in frames. If it's going to be 25 frames per second, that's going to be about 10 seconds, and then just insert a keyframe. And if we hit Alt A now, you'll see it moves, but it kind of ramps in both directions. So what we have to do, come over to the F curves over here, and I believe, I haven't tested this one, but I believe if we set it to linear extrapolation, yeah, that looks fine. I think that'll work. And it'll just maintain a constant speed. Yep. Okay, so that's all you have to do. Cool. That makes it a lot easier. So let's start making it look good. So change resolution up to 14, or that's what I did in my render. If you have a more powerful computer, you can change that to being higher, but when it comes to animating, it actually helps to have a lower one. Yeah. Okay, now choppiness, set that to 2. The scale to 2.5, and if we run the animation now, you'll see it's really wavy and kind of cool. I'm just going to move the camera up because if you look along the edges, it would come up above the camera angle, or above the camera's corner. That doesn't look good. Okay. There. That looks good. Okay, so I think we're good to go there. Yep, the ocean looks good to go. So now let's start setting up the scene. With this lamp, we're just gonna kind of move it behind the camera a little bit, pull it down, turn it into a sun lamp, and then just rotate it out into the ocean, kind of like that. Okay, and then check sky. If we render this now, you'll notice we have a beautiful sky here. And then I'm also, just so that this is longer, I'm gonna change the repeat. This is pretty much, whoa, too many. This is kind of like shoot. Oh, giving it an array. So just think of an array when you would do that. Okay. And hopefully your original was big enough that we can't really notice any tiling. So that's looking good. So if we render that, it'll take a lot longer, and it'll look fine. Now, this might seem interesting, but the ocean is actually black with a very shiny texture, or with a very high reflectivity. So just drag this guy over to being blue and turn it almost down to a perfect black. Then for specularity, turn that down to about 0.2 and check mirror. Turn the reflectivity value up to about 0.9. That's what I used in my render. And if we go ahead and do that now, there you go. That's the ocean. You can play around with these values a little bit more. Also, one more thing. If you leave the depth up at 2, the animation will crash a whole lot more than if you turn it down to 1. So I suggest you do that. Okay, so this is looking pretty good now. Let's go ahead and create a little sun up here and composite it. So what we're going to want, let's go back into camera mode, create a circle and make it filled, rotate it along the X by 90, and just kind of have it get flat onto the camera. Doesn't have to be perfect. Something like that. And that should be fine. If we render that, it'll look like terrible, or it'll just look terrible. Not even going to waste my time. Okay, so let's just pull it way out over the ocean. Make it a little bit bigger. Guess it doesn't really matter too much where it is, so long as it's scaled up enough. And give this one a new material, and just going to call it sun, and then come down under shading and give it a shadeless. And probably going to tint it slightly yellow. Now, after we composite it, we can play around with all the stuff. So that's good. Yeah. And now, put another sun lamp right in front of it. So, just like that. Kind of rotate it toward the camera, and this should work well. If we render that now, we'll get a nice specularity trail leading right up to the sun. Okay, now we're going to set up the layers actually. So there are 3 layers to the image. The ocean layer, the sun layer, and the sky layer. In the ocean layer, we're just going to set that to layer 1. Also, for the scene, set all 3. The sun layer, we're going to put at 2, and the sky, 3. Under ocean and the sun, under the include submenu, uncheck sky. This will work better when we go to use the alpha. And then I think check environment here. If we render that now, it won't really change too much. Well, it might. Yeah. Okay. So that's looking fine. I'm also going to turn the world down to black. Can't remember if this is for something else. Anyway, we'll find out. Okay. That's looking good. Looking good. Let's move the sun over to the second layer, and that should be fine and dandy. So let's head over to the compositor and we can begin finishing up. So first, let's bring in all 3 layers and the sky layer. And then I want the viewer. And then if you just hit Shift and Space, you can make this fill the entire screen. So let's re-render the whole scene. So there's the ocean layer. And the sun layer. And finally, looks like that one's already rendered. Cool. So, looking good. And good. Just gonna move this guy up. There. Okay, time to give the sun a nice big glow. Right now it looks really bad in like a circle, because that's what it is, but let's make it look better. So under color, bring out a RGB curve and lower this value, or lower this little node down to about half, and give it a little bend right there. Pull the dark values really pretty close in. Actually, I don't think we have to do this step anymore. Yeah, cool. I like that. We don't need that. That's good. Very good. I think, yeah, let's just get, not defocus, we want a glare node. Just connect that in like that. Gonna go with maybe a couple streaks here. 8 streaks. Something like that. Yeah, that should be good. Oh yeah, turn the threshold down and the mix value to 1. Okay, and let's duplicate that, plug him in right there and right there, and change it from streaks to ghosts. So that looks pretty good. We can darken it just by changing the threshold, just in case that looks too bright. It'll get hidden pretty easily by the sky itself, though. That's pretty overpowering. Yeah. Cool. So let's just combine those guys. Since they're pretty much black and white images, we're just going to use an add node. So go grab a mix node, plug that in there, and right there, and hit add. And there you have it. Looking pretty good. Notice how sharp these angles are there. I don't like that, so what I'm going to do, just bring out a blur node, plug it in right there in the middle. I like fast Gaussian. Just turn that up about 8, and it'll start looking more like a haze and less like a I don't know, sharp, angly thing, little flower. Okay. And if you don't like how sharp this the ghosts are, you can plop in another mix node or another blur node right there. That actually looks pretty good. I like that. I think I'm going to leave it that way. So that looks good. Looks good. Good, good, good. And let's go ahead and put the ocean into the image. So go ahead, pull out the add node again. You can do that by just hitting Shift D. Plug the top into the ocean layer and plug the bottom into the back of that blur node. And then if we just plug our image viewer node in, you can see we got an ocean and we got a sun. Actually, I think if we turn those around we can see... Never mind. See what I mean though? The ghosts kind of disappear here. Not really sure where they go, but they're somewhere. Okay, now let's put in a sky. So what we're going to do now, because this is an alpha of 0 and this is all alpha of whatever it is, what we're going to do, we're going to take an alpha over node and plug the bottom into the back of this add node and the top into the image or the sky. And then if we just plug our viewer node in, we get a sky and we get a nice ocean. So that's looking pretty good now. I think we're pretty much ready to go. One more thing. Let's add a defocus node to kind of blur this little background right there. What we're going to have to do is find the camera. Where are you? There we go. It's kind of hard to see on the dark background. Then click on this object data, limits, and kind of pull the distance out over the ocean somewhere. I'm going to put it fairly close to the camera. Just like that. Maybe a little bit closer. I don't know. I'm kind of just winging it right now. Just do whatever you like. It'll be, just keep in mind though that it will be clearest right where that cross hatch or those crossbars are. So, yeah. Okay, and let's just re-render the ocean. Looking good, looking good. And I'm just going to pull in another viewer node. So if we plug that guy right in there, it's just the ocean. And then we're just going to grab a defocus node and plug the image in there, and the output image there, and plug the Z to Z. And that'll look terrible. Hit use Z buffer and just turn down the f-stop a whole bunch. Maybe more. There, now it's blurry. And just play around with these values. Higher f-stop will make the world clearer. I think an f-stop of 128 will make the entire universe very clear and very much in focus, and a 0 will make the entire image very blurry. So just play around with these, get them to how you like them. Max blur is kind of a limit. So if you want more, you can turn this up to 45 maybe, or down to 1. 16 seems to be working just fine though, so I'm just going to leave that alone. And then if we come over here to the viewer node, we can see it's looking pretty good. Okay, I think that is pretty much ready to go. I don't think I'm forgetting anything, so let's save it and give it a render, see how it looks. Yeah, I forgot to plug the composite node in. So just plug the composite node into the alpha and re-render. And ta-da! An ocean. Okay, so if you want a still scene, you're done. You can just save the image. If you want an animation though, I was actually just reading up on the forums that my way of doing animations is bad. But there's a much better way, and that is to export it either as a PNG or JPEG and use the Blender's video thing, I think right there, and then you can just pull in all of the images at one time and make a video clip. So I think I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, so let's go do that. Go down here and hit add. I'm not going to use the images because I haven't had a chance to render this one yet. Obviously, I just made it. But I'm going to use the images from my preview. And so just go to wherever you have it saved. So I just saved them as ocean framed. So when you're done rendering, it'll look like this, and it'll look terrible and not much fun. All you have to do is hit the B key and select all of them and hit add image strip. And then if we just move that up right there and hit Alt A, well, it's very slow right now because what it's doing is it's actually animating the other ocean as we speak. So yeah, don't try doing this on the same one or the same Blender thing. Use a new window. So after you've saved this and rendered it, just hit Control N and then go over to the video editor and of course bring in all of those ones again. Shoot. Where did I save? There we go. So this should hopefully be a lot faster. So as you can see, there's a beautiful ocean. Yeah, if you want to add sound, let's do that. Let's see, go to Sound Bible, and they've got all these free sound clips that you can use. It's kind of cool. Pull up ocean, and you can go around and listen to them. I think I just used the crisp ocean waves and just download that. And I don't know how that came through on the recorder, but yeah, just click one of the downloads, download it, and then same way as we did here, add, sound, and then grab it wherever you have it saved. When you're done with that, just hit Alt F12 and it will render it to whatever you want it to be rendered as. So, one of those guys. I hope you found this tutorial helpful, and tune in next time. Yeah, if you have any suggestions, please feel free to comment below.